Man, we're like stuck in a time loop, huh? I thought about it again because I put out a video recently talking about dealing with Gold Lewis drone. A lot of people said you talked about Guile like walking into his sonic booms as counterplay. That's like a legacy fighting game skill that I would never have thought about. It's like something that's in Street Fighter, and I never played Street Fighter. I thought about it too because there was that comment on Reddit about like multiverses being neato because you don't need to learn anything. I don't have to learn frame data or nerd shit or like button commands before I get to go in there and enjoy the game itself. And I was like, you should know. The people who played other platform fighters, they're gonna fucking eat you alive. If Esteban and I queued up right now into Void, he would kill us both 2v1 without dying. I'm not a platform fighter player. I have a fun time. I'm mashing and stuff. But like when I watch Void play it, or like anybody who's an actual Smasher or Brawlhalla player or Rivals player, or like they play any other platform fighter, I'm like, these people are 100 million times better than me. And they like know so much more about the game. And the same thing happens when, you know, the other day I was talking about how if the screen in a fighting game is like this, if one character is standing on the corner and walking back, they are holding the screen hostage, right? So the screen is like slowly sliding towards them to take advantage of like projectiles and stuff. That's like another thing that you see in Street Fighter more than a lot of other games. Another good example is I was fighting against Kai with Testament, and I would low profile Kai's fireball. And like, you know, when you shoot a fireball, you can't shoot another fireball until this fireball leaves the screen. Either it's blocked, it clashes with another projectile, or it exits the screen. So when I would like neutral jump the fireball or like hit 2K with Testament to go under the fireball, it would mean that the Kai player would do quarter circle forward S to shoot the fireball. I would low profile it. They would try to do it again, but I didn't block it. I just went under it, and the fireball is still barely on the screen. So then they try to do another one, and they just get far slash instead. Little things like that to throw off somebody's fireball patterns is like another thing that you do a lot against Guile, right? Because Guile needs to hold his charge. You can make him mess up his charge and miss a boom by neutral jumping. And these kinds of legacy skills are really interesting because oftentimes when people talk about fighting games and they talk about the difficulty behind them, one of the big things is like everybody plays shooting games, right? You can just pick up a shooting game. If you've played one before, knowing how to use a mouse and keyboard or a controller and like move around and shoot is like very simple. But fighting games have all these legacy stuff too that is very specific, right? There's so many things like this that are just little bits of knowledge that you can only gain from playing or seeing other fighting games. Yeah, some people are mentioning that there's some stuff like this in Strive's mission mode. They do teach you certain things like this. This is true. But it's a big reason why I always recommend trying other fighting games. Each of them will teach you different skills and different techniques, and the kinds of characters you gravitate to might be different. So the kinds of struggles you may run into or the things that are interesting to you in that game might prevent you with new problems to solve or equations that you're like, I'm not really sure what to do. And it makes you look at new ideas and things that are kind of cool and unique. I thought about this while learning DNF. A lot of people say, for instance, that they think that holding a block button in DNF is really hard. For me, I played Granblue, which is like DNF in parentheses old. They had the similar button layout, and they also had the dodge, the roll, and the block. I'm used to that. And before Granblue, I was used to holding a block button because I played Mortal Kombat. It is funny though, because doing dash block in DNF is kind of like doing dash FD in Guilty Gear. Like you should think about it in the same way. So that is even a legacy skill that kind of carries over. You think about it in the same way. There's a lot of things like that that I think people are just not used to. Or like if you are used to it, you have to get used to it from another game or system. People often, I think in relation to fighting games, forget how much they've learned about fighting games and how many things they've picked up, but also how important it is to try different things. People always talk about how easy it is to play shooting games or like MOBAs or RTS games, which is mind-boggling to me, because if any of you have ever watched a fighting game player try to play a MOBA or a shooter, you know that you can be very good at some other game and just be horrendous at these other genres and just have no ability. And the reason is you just don't play them. So you're not used to playing them or moving around in them or doing stuff in them, right? Like if you've never played a MOBA before, trying to be like, okay, when you attack, after you attack, you can walk away from them and then attack again as you're retreating. They're like, how do I move? Is it right click or left click? I'm like, oh shit. How do I move the camera around? You know when you watch new fighting game people play MOBAs and their camera's just like locked? They're just like dying to creeps. You don't know what items to build. You got to use an external resource to like look and you see that your teammate has a 17% win rate on Shen and they're locked in on Shen and you're like, they probably played him like 3 times and they have like 150 games and you're like, well, people don't know how to play these genres either. They just have played one other MOBA and then they're kind of used to it, or they play it enough that they get the experience. It's the same thing with fighting games, right? I am not good at platform fighters because I've never played them serious. If I played platform fighters for a couple of months, I would pick up all the skills, right? And many of the skills I learned in fighting games are transferable, but there are certain skills that I just don't have because I have not played platform fighters. In the same way that like there are certain fighting game skills that you don't have to learn in platform fighters and they don't transfer as easily, probably, right? It's not your fault that you don't know certain things. And it's why if you are someone like me or other people who played lots of different fighting games, it's very easy to bring in ideas from all over the place and take these legacy ideas and then present them. It's why I've played so many different fighting games and I like trying other fighting games so that it gives me new outlooks or ideas about things, and then I can implement them into the games that I do play, or conversely, teach somebody some new idea easier because I have another point of reference. Like if you've never played an NRS game, for instance, so many of the ideas and things in that game are made up because people are like, what is a neutral duck and a low profile? And why is my down 4 plus 22 on hit, but I can't combo a 5-frame jab after? I'm like, look, I don't make the rules. I'm just going to explain it to you, okay?
Listen.
Like Combo Breaker, I showed up for like day 0 or whatever. I grabbed my badge. I was like, what up? And they're like, none of the stage is here at the tournament. I was like, that seems bad. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. And then I left. I was like, all right, I'm out of here. And then I saw everybody the next day, you know, I'm like, what up? Hey, I'm here for my commentary. I'm like, when did you guys leave from setup yesterday? And they're like, we didn't. I'm like, hey, all right. I'm good.